Hey everybody, it's Nabil and Chris again here with you, talking about Splatty Fantasy Football League. What's going on, Nabil?
Same shit, different day. End of week
Same.
3,
Beginning of week
just a
4.
week, just a week. Honestly, 2020 has just kind of always felt the same since March. So,
Well, before we started recording, we started talking a little bit just about how this week's been a lot. Obviously, the presidential debate last night was a
oof.
lot. There's a lot. We'll get into it later, but there's a first game in the NFL schedule. It's going to be postponed due to COVID. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. But I hope you guys are all doing good. Nabil, I said it off the recording, but I really do hope you're doing good too.
Likewise, my brother.
It's been a lot, man. Like this, just everything's been a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if we just really even tie it, right back into the league about some of the craziest that's going on, and we'll kind of touch on it in just a sec here. But I do have to say, I do love your recent logo change for
Thank
cutting
you.
a
Thank you.
Rusty.
Thank you. I
The
think we
the
got the screen
Squidward
sharing
on the
going.
maple bed.
I did not realize, by the way, that our video still is actually being recorded to this. I thought with screen sharing, it would just show my screen. But yeah, this is the last thing I want to. Oh no, we're not gonna actually edit it. But yeah, I don't want to talk about my team. I except to point out this. Rocha texted to the group chat the GIF. I'm straight up not having a good time right now. And then after that happened is when Carson and Godwin went down.
Yeah,
After both of my keepers went down after that happened. And yes, I am straight up not having a good time right now.
Yeah, and it's crazy because those are two notable injuries from this week. But you also have Dallas Goedert, Deshaun Jackson, just two guys on my team. And then Jordan Reed, John Brown, Tariq Cohen, who never really hit the ground running, but
he
he's always been
but...
a talent that people, are excited about. And then Pittman Jr., the rookie for the Colts, seems like he's going to be missing some more time. And then Mike Williams, who honestly, I never understood. He's always at the top of everyone's pickup off of waivers, but
yeah,
I just feel like he hasn't had a game. So
I feel, and not just because he's a 49er, I feel really bad for Jordan Reed. He stepped up big time for his team. He's a free agent, used to be the guy at tight end, right? He gets signed where he's clearly not the guy with all-pro George Kittle in front of him. Kittle goes down, he steps up, he scores a couple touchdowns in his first 3 games, including a game where Kittle is out, and it's just looking like, dude, I just feel good for him, good for you. And then he goes down. Yes, as a Niners fan, I'm a little bit more apt to try to root for him, but he's everything I'm seeing, he's been a good dude, and that sucked. That he got a second chance, he performed well, and immediately got injured.
Yeah, and it was weird. I was watching the beginning of that game before I had to go run an errand, and everything that I was seeing with him during the game, running crisp routes, had a few that got away from him, but you could just tell his athleticism, and it's just sad. And we're just piling on injuries for the Niners and for, the fantasy league in general.
Yep.
Which I guess with the week prior, it seemed like we were really busy in transactions, but this week was pretty quiet, right? Only real notable transaction was from Travis, spending $22 on Brian Hill.
Let's look at that. I'm pulling that up just so it's on the transaction. The Brian Hill,
Did you watch that at all?
I was here's obviously $22. You can make the argument it's an overbid since the next biggest bid was $5, but Travis got the guy he want, or not Travis. It was
Travis.
Hunter picked him up. Hunter. So you can always make the argument, right? Okay, well, he overbid, right? Because he didn't, but he got the guy he wanted. What do you think? obviously he goes for 15 fantasy points last week, so that's a big jump up. He must have scored a touchdown, right? I'm actually not familiar with
Yeah,
what his
he
stat
did.
line was. Uh, and I know Hunter, rode the Matty Ice train for a while. Do you think that is a good move for Hunter? What are your thoughts on that?
So it's interesting because I had watched a portion of that game and some of the highlights, and every time I saw an explosive run, I'm like, oh, hey, that's got to be Gurley. I have him in a couple leagues, and I look over and no, it's Brian Hill, and he didn't like go off for a whole bunch. It looks like
Right,
9 carries, 58 yards, but it's over 5 yards a carry, which is like
right.
kind of the pinnacle
That's
of a
good.
good running back. And um, I don't know if he really makes an impact or a splash, but it's a lot better to have kind of the backups nowadays with, again, all the listed injuries prior in a season with COVID. Depth at RB in our league is impossible to find anything. So
Yeah. Here's why I love this move from Hunter. Is Hunter gonna win a title this year? Like, and I talked to him earlier today. We watched the A's game together. Like, realistically, like Hunter's team is not good, right? Like, he knows it. We all know it. Like, but Brian Hill has the chance to turn into a player that you want to trade for if you
yeah,
are contending for a title. So I like the over. Yes, it's an overspend because he spent 22 fab bucks and the lowest. The second offer was $5, but I like the bid a lot. Brian Hill could turn into that guy that you need. If you're trying to make the playoffs at the end, towards the end of the year, you need a running back. Hunter's probably going to be a trade partner, and I don't feel bad for talking shit about him because Hunter knows that. Like, it's not like he's going to give up on the year already, but like he went all in last year, had very few draft picks, and he's scored poorly so far. So I don't mind the going all in on a guy that's going to be someone you can trade hopefully for draft picks later down the road. I think it's a good, as much as he didn't need to bid as many dollars. I think it works a lot for him.
yeah. I mean, he's got to get as many assets as he
Yep.
can, and
Yep.
so at this point, yeah, you still go on the waiver wire. You still take all that. You still fight in every week that you can as far as putting up points because he still plays into account like he can affect all of us. All he needs is one or
Oh
two
yeah.
weeks where he blow up. And like, I mean, it's funny. I'm looking at your screen. I see Rex Burkhead, right? And like, he's always been
Right.
involved in the offense, but a player like that can blow up. Hunter can have a few of those, and he ruins a playoff chance. Hopefully, it's not mine because I still feel like I have a shot, even though I haven't done really well. But yeah, I mean that, and it's interesting to see the stark difference between you know all the transactions from earlier last week
Mm-hmm.
um, to this week, and one that we all enjoyed commenting on in the group thread. Which can I just mention for 2 seconds that was the greatest thing I think our league has done. Is it seems like we're relatively active on that group me,
Oh, the group
and
yeah, I'm loving the group me this year.
yeah,
You
it's
guys,
getting we're
it's
talking
getting
shit the whole time. This is
it's getting
perfect.
good. I this is a really weird tangent, Nabil. I'm sorry because I know just so everyone knows we're trying to keep it a little bit shorter today. We'll see how that ends up. Um, on the Cal Poly subreddit that I follow, still like someone posted a thing about like a Surf Bros group me, and he made like a Surf Bros group me, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, I swear no one outside of Cal Poly has ever used group me. Like I think it was like there's like a sleeper agent like at group me who like went to Cal Poly. He was like, yeah, try this out because like I don't know where group me started happening like in like the WoW circle, but it did. It did,
Yeah,
and I love that other people use GroupMe because it's a great app, and I love that this year, like the GroupMe chat it's been peak Splatty League I think this year in the group chat.
yeah, I still think like I probably have about 40% of the comments on there just because I think it was like week 1 or 2 that I just narrated everything going on because it was just a drug overdose of football.
Oh yeah, you mean
And
me? That was Thursday night for like the Thursday night kickoff. That was I
yeah,
was all about it. So yeah, it's I'll like I might have had a beer or two and was just word vomiting, but it
yeah,
happens to the best of us.
yeah. And so honestly, talking, thinking back and looking back and coming back to football in general here, like just looking at there wasn't really a match that needed to be recapped. I
No, there's
think
not.
we kind of discussed this. Every win this week was a definitive win. There were, we still have 3-0 teams, and every winner was over 130. And you pointed this
Hmm.
out. The highest lowest or the highest loser score was 115. So there was
Right.
a very distinct 6 winners this week,
There were
and yeah,
there
crazy.
were the haves and the have-nots.
Where we both have nots.
I was a have-not.
Are,
Yeah.
are we qualified? Are we qualified to be holding this about the league? Like, it's not like we're doing anything to win.
I got guillotined, by the way.
I
I'm
know. I
out.
was so excited
I'm
when I
out.
passed the 100.
I'm the only one who did not score 100, which we've also talked about how it's only happened 5 times ever that everyone has scored 100. And that's the thing is if you lower that threshold to like 95, there's like 20 different times when like
Yeah.
everyone in the league scored 95, but 100, everyone scoring 100 is a thing to note, and I was the only one who did not get it done this week, so I apologize, Splatty League, that we did not get another 100-point minimum week. But yeah, I mean, we've always talked about that, like 120, maybe even 125, kind of being like the okay. Now you got a good chance to win, and that was evident last week. Everyone who won scored at least 131. Looks like was the lowest score
Yeah.
that won, and the highest score that lost was the 115.62 from Spencer. You kind of hope that always happens, right? That as a independent observer, that the highest 6 scores of the week win and the lowest 6 scores of the week lose. There's leagues out there that will like you get a second like win or loss versus like the league average, but I think that's stupid. I really do. I like it's look, this game has a lot of luck involved. But clearly the 6 teams who won earned it last week by being 15 points clear of everyone who lost.
Yeah. Not much to say because I mean it's still early too, right?
It is.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
But then I'm gonna scroll down a bit, look at the standings. I really think for the first time in a while that, and it also happens to work out that the total points for and workouts the top 6 in total points for. I know that Spencer and Drew at 3-3 or at 3-2 and 3-3 respectively are pretty close, but I really feel like the top 5, all the teams that are 3-0 and 2-1 are the best teams. And I think Travis being the best 1 and 2 team with 422 points scored in 6th place, like I feel like that is the top, like that's where the line's drawn right now. Like the top 5 teams, those are playoff teams in my opinion, unless something drastic happens. And the teams behind them, Travis being the leader right now, the other 7 of us are trying to compete for that last spot.
I have a fun. We didn't talk about this
That's
during
fine.
our little
Yeah.
like pre-talk, but how about this? Looking at, let's go ahead and draw the line right there at throughout to Ramsey, right? So, out of those top 6 teams, taking out the
Right.
3-0 teams, okay, who do you
Okay.
think wins the league?
Like who's got the best shot to win outside of those outside
I
of
want
those
to make a
3
bet.
teams?
I'll give you you get the first choice out of 4 through 6 right there. Who wins it? Who wins the league? Not the best out of all of them. I want who
Who's
wins
the
the league.
most? So who's the most? Because I think because if you ask me, I think first of all, I want to clarify that I think like gun to my head, the league champion comes from one of the 3-0 teams right now. But the
100%.
most likely team to win out of not those teams, I'm gonna go with Hoyt. I'm gonna go with Hoyt.
Okay. All right, but this is why I'm doing this. We're gonna do it. You want to put $5? If neither of
$5.
them, if neither of our choices win,
You gave me the
whatever.
first shot, so yeah, so
Okay.
we'll do $5.
Oof.
You get to pick anyone other than
Hold on, let me go ahead and look
And I
at
know
this.
I took the top. I went with the team
No,
ranked
no,
fourth.
no, no. That doesn't bother me. Oh man, I'm gonna go Yagi B. I'm going Drew.
That's who I would. But that's who I would have gone with.
Yeah.
Like that's second. I think he had one bad week, but Drew's team's good.
Yeah, I agree. So there we go. handshake through the computer.
And yeah, all right. So
All right.
if $5, wait, if you win, you give me $5. Drew, if you win, you're gonna get Nabil $5.
Yeah, I
Um,
like that.
all right, I like it. I like it too. Honestly, though, a huge part. It is hard to win our league without getting the bye, and the race between the top 3 seeds right now, with between Rocha, James, and Kevin for those buys, like that's gonna start heating up. That's gonna really start heating up because it is hard to win three playoff games in this
I
league.
mean, yeah, yes and no, right?
It
But
happens. I mean, I won 3,
right,
but it's that you know not having the bye makes it harder to win the championship. Period. And those 3 right now, every win's going to be huge for them to try to grab that first round bye.
exactly. And it one thing that I was trying to look at like the first 2 weeks because those are the 2 games that get repeated.
Correct. Yeah,
And
we can bring them
so
up on
kind of
screen.
if you were to look, and as a nice way to Hunter as the bye week, it looks like um I
I believe
believe
Rocha gets to
Ryan,
play him a second
yeah,
time.
Ryan gets the
It's
bye
me. It's
week
me and
before
Rocha.
playoffs.
Yeah. He does
Just
get that week
interesting.
13, the week 13, not the week 14 bye, the week 13 bye.
Yeah,
The
which would
auto
just
win
give
and
him
week.
that if you give him that extra win. We don't know what's going to happen. For all we
Right, but
know, everyone
you
gets
would
injured.
think by week, and again, not to try to say that Hunter's going to be tanking by any means, but you would think by that week 13, if things don't turn around quickly for Hunter, he's probably going to be in win for 2021 mode, not win for 2020 mode, and maybe is a little bit easier to beat for a team like Rocha has. That could be a beatdown
Yeah,
if
I mean,
Hunter really, yeah, that could be
yeah,
ugly. If Rocha's
because
team keeps go, if Rocha's team keeps going up and Hunter's team keeps going down, that could be ugly. That
that
could
could
be
be the largest
really ugly.
deficit. We should definitely look at that like
We
as we
should
get
look. Yeah,
into
I'll
like
look. You know what? I'll look into that next week and see what was the biggest blowout ever in Splatty League. My guess is it involves Matt Jenke. Just I'm gonna throw that.
yeah
Not
that
trying
or
to throw
Gersh.
shade. Just to, ooh. Well, let's go. That now I'd have to even go back in. I don't know if those records exist.
Oh,
We're
and
talking
it
Splatty
depends on
because that goes into
ESPN.
the yeah. I don't know if I have access to that ESPN league. Um, and this is we've kind of decided a long time ago that like Splatty League history starts with the 2013 season, right? Like the 2012 season that we had on ESPN. Great. Actually, there's actually even a 2011 season that has a handful of the people in this league and that people in this league know, and that's honestly like a solo podcast I almost want to make sometime later, where with Bill Varsh was in the league. Sarah Walkvogel was in the league. Both of my brothers were in the league, but like Hunter and Rocha, and I think Nabil, you might have been in it. Like I got to go back and like just like dig it up because I do have access to it. Um, like Spencer might have actually even been in the league because I was just like trying to throw one together.
That's fine.
That is kind of the original league that I was the commissioner for. That kind of
Right.
turned into it, but like that league then transitioned into the year we did ESPN in 2012. Those are like those were like those just don't count in Splatty League history as far as like official records of when Splatty Bowl 1 happened in 2013.
Exactly.
So
You know,
um,
so wait, we did kind of, as we were making our bets, unfortunately we did leave out one team. And so why don't we actually hop around for just a quick sec? Because you did want to highlight Travis's team. And so I think this is a good point where it's like by us
let's talk
not
about
choosing
Travis's team.
that,
Yeah, I want to
that's
do a couple
not
previews, but let's do that first. Let's look into Travis's team because he is the best team who has a losing record by total points. And let's pull him up here. One thing I really want to point out about Travis's team is if Kyler Murray turns into the next like Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, like then all of a sudden like this is not just like a like, oh, it's a pretty good team. Like, no, like it's a solid lineup. Like Kyler Murray has that potential to be the quarterback who is projected for 23 to 25 fantasy points every week. His receiving core isn't great with Boyd and Parker. Like he kind of has 2 WR2s, right? But like Dalvin Cook is a legit number 1 running back. He's getting a little bit of a boost with Mike Davis in there without Christian McCaffrey, but we don't know how long McCaffrey's going to be out. And the
Well,
longer McCaffrey's out,
they
go
said
ahead.
it wasn't all that serious, but what's honestly interesting is um, his projections still throughout this time. I mean, he might be a key part of that, offense to
He
at
could
least
be.
preserve Christian McCaffrey. They can't afford Christian McCaffrey getting hurt again or something more
Mm-hmm.
severe. So you might as well take your time because that's the face of your franchise. And Mike Davis is doing the job, So
Yeah, absolutely. Then you got Juju, who is out of the starting lineup right now for or not for Pittsburgh, but for Travis because of the COVID game. We'll get into that in a little bit after we do some matchup previews. But the main thing with Travis's lineup that it's a little top heavy. Like, I had Pollard last year, but like Pollard's not gonna be an impact player unless Zeke goes down. But like David Montgomery, again, Yahoo projection for 15 and a half. Like Tyler Higbee for the Rams, like if the Rams get going again, like he could be a huge asset at tight end. In fact, me personally, I know the Giants have like the little like red, like they're a bad matchup for tight ends, and like Cleveland's a good matchup for tight ends. But like personally, Travis, how are you? Like now might be a great time to look at starting Higbee. Although, like, you're also going against Cleveland defense, so like, there's probably not a bad choice at tight end. Maybe do the Hunter and go double tight end, use one at the flex. But I like Travis's lineup. Obviously, Justin Tucker is going to score a ton of points, being the kicker for Baltimore. Like Travis is, he's gonna be sneaky, and maybe in 4 or 5 weeks, we're actually talking about him as one of the title contenders, and not just a guy who's going to sneak into the playoffs.
yeah, I mean, it's funny. I think maybe originally at like a quick glance, when you said top heavy, you were thinking, okay, his starting crew is solid. And then, you look onto his bench and it could just be
Mm-hmm.
because some of these players have moved around. Randall Cobb as a starter there is interesting. Daniel Schultz over Higbee. Yeah. So, I mean, I think his team is set up to have a pretty good foundation. I mean, he's
I
obviously put up points. Like that's
He's put up
what's
points.
crazy too. So he's making the right decisions.
I guess top heavy in that, like, I don't see Zach Moss, Pollard, Ruggs, Christian Kirk really being startable, or Morale Cox. Like, I don't see these five. For those of you who are actually watching, not just listening, like the bottom five of his bench really being startable. And even Cobb is like on the cusp there. Uh, so like he doesn't have a lot of wiggle room for major injuries, but I'm telling you, Kyler Murray looked good against the Niners. He's looked good. I didn't actually watch any of the game against the Lions. Um, them losing did break my eliminator challenge on ESPN, which is a bummer. Uh, but like Travis's team is sneaky good, I think, and if he gets into the playoffs, as much as I just talked about how like getting 3 wins is hard, like he has, if Murray goes off and Dalvin Cook goes off down the stretch, like, and Juju goes off down the stretch, like that's not unrealistic. And all of a sudden, Travis's name is on the spotty keg.
I
Could
have
happen.
nothing to debate. All of that
Yeah.
made sense. I totally agree with you. There's definitely that top six, and maybe throw, Spencer and even
Mm-hmm.
Antonio in for just being the 8 that are competing for the finals.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Well,
obviously, I feel like I still got a chance. You got a chance. Devin's got a chance. Hunter's got kind of a chance, but like we're sitting there, and 3 weeks in, we're probably over exaggerating kind of what we think is going to happen 10 games in,
oh,
considering
totally.
again the year that we already had. So yeah, absolutely.
Let's do a quick couple of matchup previews. And Spence, since you just talked about Spence, let's do that one first. He goes up against Antonio. This is a big match. I got it up on the screen right now. Big match for one reason. Just being 2-2 is so much different than being 1-3. And we talked about this with Antonio last week. About I think it was did you play Kevin? about how
I
like
believe so.
this could be the way for him to kind of get back into the swing of things. There's a big difference between 2-1 and 1-2. Also, I it's a lot it's a lot to say, but I feel like this match really is the difference between like this sets a tone for, are you making that push to try to make it into the playoffs, or are you maybe just like kind of hanging back and trying to see what your options are, and winning this matchup is big for either one of them. It's between Spencer and Antonio.
Yeah, I do think it's still early. A 1-3 is not
It is
terrible. I think this could be a pivotal moment where we realize like this was the win that did help them make playoffs,
correct.
especially if they go back and forth and can't put together a streak or something. But
Right.
yeah, no, I agree.
Who do you think gets the edge? Obviously, the Yahoo projections that I got up right now say Antonio is projected for 130. Spencer's projected for that 122. I think Tyreek Hill's under projected at 18. And I think 18.79 is under projected for Matt Ryan for Spencer. In my opinion, I think that Atlanta Green Bay game has a chance to be a shootout. It's the same thing with the Kansas City New England games. So I think that is a little bit of an under projection. Also, if that Atlanta Green Bay game does turn into a shootout, Lazard for Spencer could be getting a lot of points. And then again, that's my opinion. So I think this game's closer than Yahoo projects it to be. And I honestly, looking at the lineups, especially now with the Jonnu Smith tight end for, like, I don't know like if the Tennessee Pittsburgh game is going to happen. Like my money's on Spencer to win this one outright. What do you think?
Okay, so we'll get to this as it relates to this COVID thing, because now I'm wondering at this point, since it's postponed since Monday, is Yahoo just considering that
Yeah, well, we don't know.
a game out?
As of recording, that there is no date for the game yet.
So I guess that is determined. If it's Tuesday, they can still hypothetically consider it within this. But
Yeah.
yeah. So I think my biggest thing is I'm looking at like Stafford. I don't think that's a projection. 1850 is what is his highest, and he's thrown the ball in other games. You know, he almost 300 yards in week 1, 250 in week 2, and 270 in week 3, with a bunch of touchdowns, a few interceptions here and there. I just don't know if he has, even though he's going against New Orleans. New Orleans, the reason why I dropped Drew Brees, they've kind of focused more on the running game. So I don't know if he'll have the time to put up a bunch of points. I agree. I think Atlanta is trash, and so it just forces, Matt Ryan to throw the ball. And he didn't have a very good week against Chicago, but has almost always put up above 20 cents. And so I don't know if it's enough though to make it up. It all depends on how these Pittsburgh games go, because Gostkowski is Tennessee has been pretty much within the 30 to 40 yards and just kicking field goals or scoring touchdowns. So Gostkowski is, not that we need to be doing kicker analysis, a big part of this team, as well as Jonnu Smith, who's been kicking ass this season. So it'll be interesting to see how they navigate. I think once we get the dates of the games.
Yeah, I think David Johnson is a big what if factor too. For like how many touches does he get? Does he score? If he doesn't score for Antonio, it's going to be hard for him to find enough points to win, I think.
But I can agree with you. If I had to choose, I'm going to go ahead and say Spencer.
Yeah. The other matchup that we wanted to preview, because it's clearly, in my opinion, the biggest one, is the. Sorry, I'm just trying to find to click on it. Oh, it's Rocha versus Hoyt. The Battle of the Ryans. The best 3-0 team. So in first place is Rocha. The best 2-1 team. In fourth place is Hoyt. 67% favorites, probably a little much. The quarterback situation for Hoyt is a big bummer with Big Ben projected for a 0 right now, or 18 or whatever. I think
the projection still counts in there.
The projection is still counting, yeah, but it's this. I don't know why they're listening to 0. Because I think if they play the game, if they play the game Monday, it'll count Monday, and I don't know about Tuesday, but This is clearly a big match for seeding purposes. Um, eh, like what's your key takeaway from this game?
I mean, these two projections are monstrous.
They
Again, it's
are.
like I know that this is a PPR year or league, and usually, we always talk about you want to be over 120 to,
Mm-hmm.
at least put yourself in contention for a win.
Yep.
But these numbers are just getting out of hand to an extent. But if you look at like kind of what's driving these teams, Mahomes made the case for being the number one football player in the NFL last year.
Yeah,
And he
he did.
obviously, I don't know if you saw that post by his, I think his girlfriend saying something along the lines of like, he should have been number one or something like that. And so I think, yeah, I mean, I see where Ryan's getting his points. Hopkins, as I've stated, I mean, he got 10 last week, 10 receptions last week. I mean,
What's up with Hopkins
again,
and
he's just
what's
going to be a
this?
monster. Cooper's going to be a monster. Aaron Jones has been a monster. If Henderson really is the running back for the Rams, like he played well last week. I think that McVay is going to switch it up. I don't think it'll always be the same running back. So
Mm-hmm.
that has a potential of being a bust there. But I mean, yeah, you look at, Ryan's or Hoyt's team, and it's a lot of people who could succeed. I mean, who are they throwing to the ball to in Denver? I don't know.
I don't know.
So
Hoyt, who are
no
they
fun.
throwing the ball to in Denver?
Yeah, answer that. Who's their quarterback? Because I thought it was going to be Bortles, but they're still running whatever his
Oh, did
name
you
is
not
out
hear?
there.
Nabil, they had open tryouts last week.
I,
You didn't
in
go?
that thin air, I could have gone.
Yeah, in that thin air. Because are you going to see me throwing football over the mountains?
Exactly. But I get a
Uncle
vortex,
Rico.
right? Yeah, I need one of those vortex to keep up with some of these football players
Dude.
nowadays. But yeah,
Now,
I think this is gonna be a pivotal matchup, and it's gonna be a lot of fun to
obvious.
watch because that's
Yeah.
all the points in the league right there.
Obviously, with the Mahomes Kelsey stack, the first time Kansas City has a bad game, Roach is gonna have like be in trouble. But like Aaron Jones is a stud. Hopkins is a stud. Like he's probably got the most well built roster for a title. And we'll see if Hoyt can do it. Like we'll see if Hoyt can take him down. Kamara has been great. Roethlisberger has been great. Um, it's fantasy. Anything can happen, but this is a huge, and falling to 2-2, I think for Hoyt, even as long as he puts up like another like 130 to 140 points, isn't bad. If you lose to the guy who's been averaging like almost 150, I think. Um, but yeah, it'd be fun to see Rocha get taken down a bit because I don't personally I don't want to see anyone run the table unless it's me. That's
Right, and you couldn't have been more spot on. Ryan's point per week is 150. It actually
150.
shows
Yeah.
on their profile. So,
All right, cool.
yeah, that's incredible.
The last thing, so we talked about Travis' team of the week. We talked about those matchup previews. The last thing, I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page about this COVID game, the Pittsburgh game, Pittsburgh Tennessee getting postponed. Unfortunately, we're not able to really we're gonna go with however Yahoo decides to score it. I hope
Yeah,
that if they play on Monday or Tuesday, that
yeah.
they just score it this week. If they play on Tuesday and they don't score it for this week, I like I'm sorry. Like that's to me that's not how it should be played. But then like what do they do? Like if they play on Tuesday, do you get the points from their game on Tuesday and the Sunday afterward?
I no, I think
I hope that yeah,
fantasy will put it down to one game, but it is going to be interesting because what I was hearing is that they would just turn this into their bye week and like reschedule the game. But uh, if those teams
when?
don't align in bye
Yeah.
week, I don't
They
know.
don't. Yeah, I
You've
so it sounds like
checked?
it
Oh
sounds
yeah,
like
no, they
yeah, they
don't.
don't.
They're
It
right there,
sounds like they're
6
gonna
and
play
7.
Monday or Tuesday, but for fantasy, I hope it just counts for this week. Um, if it gets pushed back all the way to like Wednesday or Thursday, obviously it can't. So just stay posted. Hopefully this is, and I know this is stupid to hope it, but hopefully this is the last time we have to deal with something like this. I highly doubt it's the last time we have to deal with something like this.
Yeah.
But just keep, remember that everyone's playing by the same rules and we're all flying by the seat of our pants and we're trying to make sure that this is as fair as possible.
Yeah,
Definitely,
and
definitely a bummer to see a game get postponed, even if it is going to be played this week.
it'd be interesting just to see what this means for the other games, right? Because
Yeah,
say they play Tuesday, and I don't know exactly what their schedules are, but if they're to play Sunday, that's already a day less of recovery. It'd
yeah,
be interesting to see if they would push that next week's opponents' games to Monday to give them like
yeah.
that extra day. It'd be
I,
because no one's in the fans, right? Or no one's in the stadium. So are fans
well,
impacted? I mean, I guess it depends on
depending
where,
on
but
the location, actually.
I would assume that it's mostly local team or local people who are going to these games. One would
I,
assume, or
I
one
would,
more day
one
would
would
not be
hope,
much more.
one would hope.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So yeah, we'll keep our eye on the COVID game. The COVID game. I'm calling. That's how I wrote it in my notes. Like I just knew that like the Tennessee Pittsburgh was like the COVID game, but we'll keep an eye on that. Bold prediction, Nabil. You said you had a couple of bold predictions, and we'll wrap it up with those. I got one for myself. Do you have? Do you want to give me both? Do you want to give me one? Do you want to have me do mine first? What's
All right.
the order you want to do?
I'm gonna start with the not really that serious, not one player.
Then we'll do mine,
And then you'll go
yeah.
yours, and then you'll
There we go.
end mine with it's a player. Okay, so here we go. I will score above 120 points, and I will choose my highest scoring QB this week. Like that's gonna happen because I have chosen the worst scoring quarterback, and I have put up a just disgusting. I don't even know if I broke 110. Maybe I'm
I don't
110
think
to
you have.
120. But yeah, this has been pitiful. I need to do better. But that's my bold prediction is that I get above 120. I'm not guaranteeing a win. I'm not guaranteeing a win.
That you'll score well.
Yeah.
Funny you say that. So I'm gonna my own bold prediction is also about my own team. I'm just predicting that all of my starters finish the game. That's it. That's it.
Oh, that's kind of what we need this year.
All of my starters finish the game. I've got two listed as questionable. I'm not going to be starting Chris Godwin, even if he somehow does play with a pulled hamstring. I'm honestly concerned that his season could be over, at the very least, not be very productive. But I'm going to just say that all of the guys here, Rodgers, Lamb, Sanders, Carson, Hines, Waller, Watkins, Bullock, and the San Francisco defense. I mean, the San Francisco defense is definitely going to get torn apart again because that's what they do. All of my position player starters are going to finish the game. That is my bold prediction.
That is bold. And I just have to say, just like commenting on just some of these designations, I don't know if it's because the NFL changed some of their own rules, but this is like bullshit. How many times people are on question or are
Oh
like
my gosh.
questionable? I know that they like got rid of some of the doubtful stuff, but also like
No
now just looking
probable
at your
ranking.
designation,
Yeah.
why the hell is Chris Carson projected? I know it's a knee sprain. There's no way. Why would they risk putting him out there? This is what I don't understand. It's like
I don't
I don't
know.
know if these coaches are
I
like
don't know.
trying to do something. I don't know. Okay.
I
My
don't
bold
understand. Okay, the other
prediction.
bold prediction.
Mine is actually still for someone on my team, and for someone who I've made a prediction for him before, but I'm gonna do it again, and that is OBJ will get 8 receptions for 120 plus yards and a touchdown, and end as one of the top 5 receivers
All right, so
in week 4.
26 points based on those numbers and a top 5 receiver in week 4. So far, OBJ, let's pull it up.
Oh, don't remind me.
Maxed out. When he got that touchdown, he got into double digits. So, look, OBJ is one of those guys. I'll say it, who's like, to me, he's like that Cam Newton that we talked about. Where like I think he plays better when he's in a situation that he loves, and I think that if he finds a way to love to play football again for Cleveland, that he could be that guy. Or if he finds a different team, he could absolutely be that 20 points per game fantasy stud. And the bold prediction from Nabil: 8 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown. Top
Okay,
5
yeah.
receiver. All right.
And I feel good about it. But let me also just comment on, because you went a little bit into OBJ here, but he actually had a report where he's accepting his position in this team, that they are run first team, and that he will
Yeah.
not have the kind of year he's had in the past. And while that's good, I'm also looking at Cleveland. okay, so they've gotten 2 wins, but really against Cincy and Washington, that's not saying all that much. And so of course they can run those games, right?
Right.
But when you start getting into, Dallas, Indy's looked
We'll
pretty
see.
good, Pittsburgh, like that is their chance that it's gonna be more competitive. And he still has the highest portion of that target share. I think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's got 2 6s. I mean, he catches 2 of those. That's a couple extra yards. I think he can do it. I'm
I
just
think
gonna
he
have
can.
to live
I
with
think he
him as
can.
a wide receiver 2. I don't think he is a wide receiver 1. I hope he finishes as one this week, but I have to settle that I made the wrong decision in the second week.
I think he can. I think your prediction is absolutely the ceiling for him every week, but
Yeah,
but the floor is low, and that's the problem. I'm not going to shit on him too much though, because trading for Odell won me a Splatty Bowl, and so you can't those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. We're gonna try to. I think it was short. I'm not sure. But I think we're going to call it a wrap from there. This was the week 3 recap, week 4 preview. Nabil, you got any other parting words?
no, I need a W. I need to feel good about this league.
I need a W too. I talked about it off screen and on screen last week that I was 9-1 across all 5 leagues. Yeah, I went 4-1 again last week. I'm doing very well in fantasy except for Splatty, and I could use a win. I really could use a win.
Actually, lastly, Hoyt, hit me up about a quarterback since Roethlisberger won't play. I got 3 of them, and maybe I'll have you could choose. But
Yeah, you
either
could probably
way,
pick his highest scoring quarterback.
yeah, I'm going to need that. Take whoever I don't choose because they're going to score higher. So either way, good luck, guys. Stay healthy. Enjoy your time.
Yeah. All right. Now we just got to make sure that I know how to stop the recording here.
Peace
I'm
out.
gonna stop share. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.